All right, we're getting closer now to starting to build our website. And in this lesson, we're going to actually install the Joomla program on our server at our host provider. And there's several ways that you can do that. I'm going to walk you through the steps of doing it what I consider to be the easiest way to do that. First step is to open a web browser and go to joomla.org. If you've never worked with Joomla before and have not researched it, Joomla is a open source software, which means that it's free. It's been designed by a group of software writers, software coders that have worked together to develop a platform in which people can use to build their websites on. And it's been around now for about 7 or 8 years, so it's very mature. It's gone through many revisions, and the Joomla that we have today is very stable and very professional. Now, in addition to the Joomla platform, there have been thousands of extra programs that have been written to work alongside Joomla or work with Joomla as plugins that give you even more capability. But consider Joomla itself to be like perhaps the basic frame of a car, for example. And then other programs have been written that will add functionality to your car, features to your car, extras to your car. And so working together with these thousands of plugins that have been written, many are free, you have an amazing, powerful program to assist you in building your website. To get started, what we need to do is download the basic framework, the basic platform, the Joomla package itself. So go ahead and hit the download button. And what we want to do is download the latest version. By the time you watch this tutorial, you will probably have a newer version showing up when you click these links. But for today, here in July of 2015, we have a version that's 3.4.3. So don't worry if the version that's showing up is greater than this one. Go ahead and just download the version that shows up here. Save file. And once that has finished downloading, what we want to do is go to our cPanel. Let's open up another tab here and direct ourselves to our cPanel login. And if yours is working like mine, it's remembering my username and password, so all I have to do is hit the login button and I'm into my cPanel. And what we want to do is go into File Manager, hit the Go button, and make sure that you are in public HTML. Just click on that. And then we can hit the Upload button and go and hit the Browse button. And then we need to navigate to wherever that Joomla package was downloaded to. In my case, it's going to show up in the Downloads folder of my software, and here it is showing up here. And just double click on that, and it will start to upload to our server at InMotion Hosting. And you'll see that it is complete there. And once it's finished, you can just hit this little link here that says Back to Home. And you'll see that the Joomla package is now showing up in our file directory. What we want to do is right-click on that package and go down to Extract. And this will extract this zipped up package of Joomla onto our server. And once it's finished, just hit the Close button, and we'll see that our Joomla package is now fully extracted, fully listed here now on our server at InMotion Hosting. So now what we can do is open up another tab. And so now all we have to do is type in our website address, and that will start the installation process. Now, your screen may look just a little bit different than what we're seeing here. Don't worry about that. From time to time, they do change the background of the screen, but the functionality should be very similar, if not identical, to what we're doing here. So the first box you might want to enter is the name of the site. And here, it doesn't have to be your website address. You can actually type in the name of your business that might, say, for example, appear on your business card. So what we'll do in this case is something like that. And here we could type in a description. This is kind of optional at this point. You can always add this later, but just a basic description of what the website content is going to be. And so I might say something like, just something that in one or two sentences describes the content of your site, because this is what will show up if somebody's doing Google searches. It will give the name of the website and then just a brief description. And like I say, you can change this later. Don't worry too much about this at this point. Now for an admin email, you don't necessarily have to use the email address that you created for your new website. In fact, it's probably a good idea, a better idea to have a different email address here. Think in terms of the email address that you use as a primary email address, something that you are checking every day. So in my case, I'll probably just use my Gmail address. Okay, in our next box, we're asked to supply an admin username. Now, this should not be confused with our database username. This is new, this is different. In fact, it should be different. And so what you need to do is come up with a username that you will use to log in to Joomla every time you need to do something in the back end and make some changes, some updates. You will be needing to plug in this name. So come up with a name and also write it down, because you're going to need that in a minute when you go to log into Joomla. So in my case, I'll probably just say something like, and then a password, and just confirm the password. And remember to write it down. I've done this before where I've created passwords and then by time 5 minutes later you go to log in and you can't remember it. So I always have to write it down. And once you've got that done, go up and hit the next button. And here's where you need to get out your paper where you recorded the information about your database and plug in that information here. And so my username was my password. And then the name of the database. Remember the underscore. And you can go ahead and accept the table prefix, that's fine. And then go up and hit the next button. And if you've got everything entered correctly, you will be brought to a finalization page. Now the Joomla package does come with some free templates. And if you're new to Joomla, it's a good idea to install some of the sample data that they supply that will help you get an idea of some of the things that you can do with Joomla. This will help orient you to the package, and by including some sample data, you will be able to quickly get an idea of how Joomla works and what you can do to quickly change out the sample data with your own data. So if you are planning to create a blog with Joomla, you might want to check the blog sample data. If what you're planning to do is a basic brochure site, you might want to choose the brochure. If you're wanting to do something in a different language, you might want to just select the none there. But if you know English, if you're listening to these tutorials, you probably do. It would probably be good to choose either the blog or the brochure, depending on what your purpose is. I'm going to go with the sample data for the brochure site in English. And email confirmation, I would probably just leave that at no, so that there isn't an email out there with all of your configuration settings. And you can quickly confirm all of the information here. Here in the pre-installation check, Joomla is taking a look at the software that is installed on your server by your host provider. And if you see all green here, then you're good to go. If you see some no's here in red, then you probably will not be able to complete the installation until you check with your host provider and get them to install the necessary software or make changes to the software to accommodate the latest version of Joomla. So if you've got all greens here, it's all yes, then you are good to go. If you've got some no's here, you might not be able to complete the installation until you check with your host provider. And you would do that through support by submitting a ticket using your control panel, your client control panel. Be in touch with your host provider to get them to make sure that you can run Joomla on your server. Okay, so I think we are good to go. We can hit the install button and it's going to go through its paces. And congratulations, Joomla is now installed. One more step, they want us to remove the installation. It lets you know that it's successfully removed. And at this point, you can either go to your site or go to your administrator panel, your control panel for Joomla. And I think that's what we'll do. We'll go to our Joomla. Now it's asking us for our username and password to be able to log into our new installation. So hopefully you wrote those down and can enter that now. And you won't have to type that in every time, especially if you get your browser to remember this information. You'll just be able to hit the login button and you'll be in. Okay, so we have arrived at the control panel. This is a different control panel than what we were using at our server. This is the control panel for Joomla software itself. So lots of control panels to keep straight. If we want to take a look and see what might be showing up on our website at this point, we could go up and click up in this area here. And this will take us to our website using the sample data that we installed. And this is the way it looks right now. And in future tutorials, we'll show you how you can make changes to this sample data that has been installed for us when we installed Joomla. All right, but for now, that does it for how to install Joomla on your server.